Hey, folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. This video for Monday, June 27th, 2011 is brought to you by Realtic. All right, guys, let's get right into the mix today. We have a lot to cover. Markets are trading higher today after an ugly Friday where people just say, I do not want to hold into the weekend. And sure enough, that seems to be the trend lately as almost all Fridays over the last 2 months have been down. And again, we saw that beautifully on Friday, the selling just continuing all day long. We closed near the lows of the day, just off a nice little double bottom from this pivot low right here. See this little pivot low from Thursday? That's exactly what we hit into the close on Friday. Now, I posted personally to my premium members inside the research center. I basically said in a post on the hot charts and alerts, which by the way, everyone can get via the free trial, 7-day free trial to the research center. But I said, listen, yes, I know we sold off on Friday, but I don't think this market's going down. The reason is you have the July 4th holiday coming up. They will do their best to prop this market in because everyone spends money on the July 4th holiday, whether it's traveling or going to sales at the malls. They're going to be spending money. They're going to want people to spend money, and they need to keep this market from having a major breakdown. So the volume will get lighter throughout the course of the week. They've pushed off the jobs numbers until next week as well, so that won't be a hindrance. And all of these things combined should push the markets up during this week. Well, sure enough, that's starting to happen today. Today we had the dollar, which opened slightly higher and just collapsed. And as the dollar collapsed, we see the market moving up beautifully. You are looking at the SPY, which is the ETF for the S&P 500. And again, you can see that beautifully moving up throughout the day, kind of stalling out right around this level here on the charts. And again, that's a beautiful little stall out right there. Interestingly enough, we have a blue trend line right there as well. And if you want to see where this blue trend line comes from, I mean, this is a major level. Look at this. Pivot high, and pivot high. Stretch it out, it goes right through this area right here, and there's a pivot high again. So very cool to see how these levels continue to work, folks, and that's why you have to know price, pattern, and time. Pattern is so important because it tells you about future moves in the market that are going to coming. It's basically like having I would say, a crystal ball. You have a crystal ball that tells you, and that was a great example last week. We had the inverse head and shoulders right here. Here's your inverse head and shoulders, and based off that pattern, I said, guys, we're going to go to 129.50, and that's exactly where we went, and we profited on that in the research center and in the intraday stock chat. Nothing changes. You just follow pattern, price, and time, and it will tell you everything. So the blue line working beautifully there as resistance. What's kind of cool there as well, folks, what I want to show you as well, there's another trend line. If you take this low close, see the close from this gap right here, and you stretch it through the high pivot, look at this. It actually goes right there. Connect it right to from this close to this pivot high, and look at what it comes to right through that level, and the market still hasn't been able to get through. If the market gets through this area, it's going to easily go to the 200 and then fulfill these fake prints. This is fake print number 1 right here and fake print number 2. I think the market this week actually fills all those fake prints, and again, that means that, again, the fake prints told the story of where this market was going. And guys, the fake prints, when they appear on my chart, are 90% successful in completing, and it's a great indicator, and it's something we've used more and more, and they really only happen on the premium softwares like Realtic, which is what I use, and I love Realtic, folks. As you guys know, I've used it, for as long as I can remember. I've tried other softwares, none of them even come close to Realtic. But bottom line is this, guys. Bottom line is that other charts you'll get fake prints on, but if it's a common chart used by the retail investor, you're not going to get those to play out. They're not real fake prints. You got to look for the rare ones that come on these charts, which are on Realtic, and those have a high propensity to play out. All right. Markets are consolidating here, folks. It's going to be interesting to see how the market ends today. I'm curious to see if we see late day selling. You do have a couple little blips in the screen this week. Number one, the austerity vote. There's going to be a vote on the austerity measures that Greece adopted last week. If those go well and those pass, then the market should continue to be strong into the weekend. If those fail, then you actually could see a little bit of problem for the market. I don't think they'll fail, though. Greece knows they have to get them through. I think everyone else will get them through at this point. All right, so we'll continue to follow that as well. Let's take a look at the dollar. Remember how I told you the dollar collapsed from the opening? It opened higher and the dollar collapsed. This is a chart on my Realtic software of the UUP. UUP, you can see, opened up here. This is where the UUP opened, which is a positive here. Here's where it closed on Friday, right down here. It opened higher, and look at the collapse down. So see that magic drop on the dollar, and that's exactly why the markets were able to put in such a nice move up. This move up coincides perfectly with that drop on the SPY, which mirrors the S&P 500. So it's kind of continuing to show us that whatever way the dollar is moving, the markets will go in the opposite way. And that happened again today. And then since then, basically since that big initial pop, you had a pullback, another pop, hitting the level here, and then just consolidation. Volume, again, look at the volume just dry up, even compared to Friday. Friday's volume was very solid compared to today. There was no volume in this market. And again, if things stay quiet, if things go according to plan, you should have a very light volume week based on the holiday coming up this next week, all right, guys? And that actually is giving me a neutral to upside bias for the week just based on that alone, all right? And again, if you guys know, this is actually exactly what happened on Memorial Day, the week leading into Memorial Day, which was a 3-day weekend with Monday off, and that's the same thing that is going to most likely happen this week. I don't think there's a lot of upside, but I just think that generally you may see the market just float neutral to positive. All right. So let's take a look at a couple other stocks today. What's leading the charge today? Financials led early. Bank of America with an almost 3% gain. Look at this move up on Bank of America. It's opened flat and then just had a huge buy program hit. Since that buy program ended when the dollar pulled back and stalled out, you basically have just chopped sideways just like the market. So Bank of America leading the charge today. JP Morgan's up about 1%. It's a broad-based rally today. Again, technology is looking very, very strong. Apple Computer. Look at this, guys. By the way, Apple's into a nice little level right here. Look at that. Beautiful little resistance point, but Apple's hammered on it. This was actually your short, your first hit of any moving average or every key level is going to be your best shorting opportunity. So this was obviously your number one. Notice how it pulled back, little topping tail, and pulled back more. That was your scalp. Now you're actually hitting it for your second or third time, so it could go through. You don't necessarily short the second or third time. All right. Other stocks in motion today that are having big days. Amazon's having a monstrous day, guys. Look at the chart on Amazon. Just the buying is continuing here. Volume is, again, pretty, I would say pretty decent for Amazon here. And again, if we look at the daily chart, look at that massive consolidation right here. You had a nice pop, then one bar down and one bar up. One bar down, that's 3 bars of consolidation. And the market, again, ripping up today on Amazon. Beautiful move. Where are you headed on Amazon, guys? I'll show you right now. Right here. This is where you're going to have a good shorting opportunity, good scalping opportunity right here at approximately 202.65. 202.65 will be gap fill. It's about $1.50 away from current levels right now, and if that does hit today, that will be a nice little short scalp on the downside. All right, and that's a major gap fill. If you get through that eventually in the coming days, you could actually top out at the double top up here, which would be a possible swing trade shorting opportunity. But we'll have to monitor this market again, guys. I don't think the market's going to have a major breakdown at least in the next 2 weeks. I think you're going to have choppy, slight upside for the next week or so, and then we'll see what happens after that. The reason I'm saying that, folks, is because if you go back to the SPY chart and you look at the daily chart, and this is everything, take a look at this little trend line. Going back from the 2009 lows of March to the 2010 lows, right here, and if you connect those through, you get a line that goes right to the current level on the SPY, and that's exactly what this market is holding on to. It's hard for me to believe that in the short term they're going to let that break, especially going into the July 4th weekend. That's kind of why I'm in the bias of thinking that this market could have a little bit of a pop to it, all right? So we'll watch that very closely, and again, folks, I strongly encourage, take the free trial, no risk involved, to the Research Center or the Intraday Stock Kit, or you can do both if you want. Whatever you want to do, you can take right now. Try us out. I'm putting out new trade alerts tonight. I put them out last night as well. These trade alerts are amazing. The levels, if they get hit, are 90% success rate. That means 9 out of every 10 folks you'll make money on. And again, we just did that last week. We did that the week before, and I'm looking to do that this week as well. And again, even though it's a lighter week, you're still going to have some good action, especially possibly to the upside this week in a market that, again, is looking for a little bit of a bounce this week. All right, so join the free trial. It's a 7-day free trial. There's no obligation, and that's the best thing about it. If you don't like it, cancel it before the end, and you'll never be charged. All right, guys, have a great afternoon, great evening, fun day in the markets. Hopefully we see a little bit more upside in the coming days, like I suspect, and we'll profit from it. We'll see you there. Take care.